Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a Hyundai Ioniq 5. This is probably the largest car we've tested so far, and it's one of the first sort of futuristic but retro style cars that we've driven. So I'm quite looking forward to this one. Today we are headed towards the New Forest. Some lovely scenery there. It's relatively local, so yeah, I'm just kind of excited to see how the car is, all that sort of thing. As usual, we'll do a spec rundown, some nice cinematic shots, all the usual bits, and yeah, we'll let you know how the Hyundai Ioniq 5 performs in 2022. So stay tuned. So first impressions of this car. I've been driving it for probably about 20 minutes now. Yeah, it's a lovely place to be, this interior. There's a few things that maybe sort of make it look a little bit cheaper than it perhaps is, but like some of the way that they've sort of done the speaker arrangement and things like that. But yeah, overall it's a nice place to be in here. The seat feels nice and comfy. I actually love the design of the steering wheel. It's different to like anything I've ever used before. It's very sort of rectangular. Yeah, I like it a lot. Driving wise, again, feels like a lovely car to drive. As I'm sure you've just seen, we had a bit of rain. Came rather out of nowhere, and yeah, we got quite wet because of that. Luckily I've got a coat with me, so it wasn't too bad, but yes, that was definitely unexpected. So we're moving on from Finley now, and we are headed towards Lyndhurst, which is another town in the New Forest. It's a little bit bigger than Bewley, I believe. And yeah, so again, we're just going to take some of the nice little roads along there. Oh look, the sun's come out, how nice. Take some of the nice roads along there, and then yeah, I'll check back in with you guys once we arrive at Lyndhurst. It's now a new day. I've got the car behind me here in the showroom. I've just got the stats here up on my phone, so I'm gonna run through the different trim models and just kind of give you a bit of a rundown of all the different specs you can get. So the standard range two-wheel drive is the lowest spec you can get, which starts from £43,150. For that money you get a 185 mile range with a 54 kilowatt hour battery. So next up is the long range two-wheel drive, which starts from £46,650. For that money you get a range of 240 miles with a 77 kilowatt hour battery. And finally we have the long range all-wheel drive, which starts from £50,150. For that money you get 235 miles of range, the same 77 kilowatt hour battery, but a faster 0 to 62 time of 5.1 seconds as opposed to the two-wheel drive's 7.3 seconds. So it really depends on if you're willing to spend the extra cash for that extra bit of performance or not, so it's really up to you at that level. So obviously they're not cheap vehicles, but I think nowadays with leasing and things like our iLease electric salary sacrifice platform, you can get great deals on them, which means that they are perfect if you are looking for a brand new electric vehicle. Yeah, something that's nice and flashy to drive around in, and it's going to be comfortable for many years to come. So yeah, I think it's definitely a good idea, especially with the government pushing us more and more towards electric vehicles. So yeah, I'm very impressed with the Ioniq 5 so far. So here in the front seat of the Ioniq 5, you may be able to see that we have two paddles on the steering wheel here. Now obviously if you know your electric cars don't have gearboxes, so why would it have paddles on it? The point of these paddles are actually to adjust the regeneration of the battery. So when you're driving normally, you can pull the paddle on the right hand side of the steering wheel, and that will reduce the regeneration effect, making it feel like more of a normal car. So when you take your foot off the throttle, it will just roll normally, and yeah, you won't really notice any difference. But if you pull the paddle on the left hand side of the car, it will increase the regeneration effect. Therefore, it will basically allow you to use one pedal driving, meaning you won't have to touch the brake at all, and you can literally control everything by the throttle. So when you take your foot off the throttle, the electric motor slows itself down by regenerating some of that power that it's using to turn the wheels, and yeah, it means that you won't really have to use the brake while you're driving, hence why it's called one pedal driving. So yeah, that's a neat little feature and a good use of paddles behind the steering wheel on a car that traditionally wouldn't use them. So another cool feature on the Ioniq 5 is these door handles. As you can see, they fit completely flush with the car. The way you open them is you push in at the front here, and then you can grab the back and open the door. Now once you close the door, you see this little square here. If you push on that, it actually locks the car for you, and then you can just walk away and go about your day. So the charging port is found here on the driver's side of the vehicle. On the key you have a button here, which you hold down, and it will open the charging port for you. As you can see, we've got two different types of charging available to us, depending on what's available to you at the time. The tech in the Ioniq 5 is also great. It has a lovely heated steering wheel, as I mentioned earlier, that slightly funky shape, which I love. It has heated seats, the nav system seemed great, the sound system seemed great. Yeah, I haven't found any faults with any of its technology so far. The lane keep assist is brilliant as well, where it slightly turns the wheel for you if you're sort of drifting between lanes. Yeah, everything that I've tested in it has worked flawlessly, and yeah, really impressed with all of it. Slight downside for me is that the climate control buttons are all sort of haptic feedback touch buttons, which I'm not a massive fan of. I know VW have done something similar with their Golf range. It's not terrible, it works perfectly, but yeah, I'm just an advocate for physical buttons. Yeah, I can't really complain too much. It all works very well. So you know, just above those climate control buttons, you do have more physical buttons you can change onto, like the map view, the different navigation settings, like the radio, all those sorts of things. So I like how they've kind of mixed in some normal buttons along with the touch buttons, so it's not too futuristic and it's still familiar to a lot of people. The main screen above those buttons is the sort of main big touch screen that you've got in there. I found that to be absolutely flawless. The colours were always perfect. It wasn't too bright in dim lights or too dark in harsh light, and no matter what angle the sun's hitting it, I never found it to be hard to read or anything like that. So yeah, I think the panel technology on that is really, really good. Yeah, massive props for that. So bringing it back to the steering wheel quickly, you've got a drive mode select button on there, which changes you from eco, normal and sport. So that is basically, the eco mode is where you're going to have the best range. It may limit you in some factors in terms of like heating and things like that, just to save some battery. Normal is just your run-of-the-mill, it's just you'll have access to everything. Battery life is sacrificed a small amount from eco, but it just feels like a regular car to drive at that point. And then sport tightens things up a bit, so you get a bit more throttle response, again sacrificing some battery life. But I think if you're looking to have fun, if you're on some nice country roads or something, sport would be a great way to put it in, just to have a bit of fun while you're driving. And then if you're getting a bit low, you can stick it on eco and it'll be perfect for a good amount of miles. Or if you're just driving, you can leave it in normal. It's really, depending on how your driving style is, completely up to you as to what you leave it on. All in all, I think the car's been absolutely fantastic. We've had it for a week now, and yeah, I think everyone in the office has loved it. It's been great to drive, it's great to look at. I think the styling of it really, really works. It's kind of that sort of futuristic but retro styling. Yeah, it looks brilliant in my opinion. Some people aren't going to like it, but it's all personal taste. I don't think you're ever going to find any car that everyone loves. So yeah, in my opinion, I think it looks really good. It drives well, the tech's great. Yeah, I think it's a really, really good car. I think it's, for the money, I don't think it's too expensive for how much you're getting. I think it's a lot of car for the money. Yeah, I think it's just a really good all-round package from Hyundai. I think they've done a great job with it. So, as always, if you have enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment your thoughts on the Ioniq 5, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more electric car reviews, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers!